Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We are creating a really gentle, validating, and profoundly safe space to explore something incredibly personal. It's a wound that's super heavy to carry, yet it's almost entirely invisible to the outside world. We're going to be talking about internalized worthlessness. Look, if you've ever felt like you're literally pouring your absolute best efforts into the world, only to watch them just disappear like teardrops in an ocean, I want you to know right now, you are seen, you are so welcome here, and this time is just for you.
Okay, let's jump right into this. What if that deep-seated pain you carry around, that quiet, devastating conclusion that you just don't matter, isn't actually a flaw in your character? What if instead it's a completely brilliant, absolutely necessary adaptation to your past experiences? The second we start looking at it this way, the shame can finally start to fall away. You aren't broken. Your brain was simply doing whatever it took to survive.
So let's nail down exactly what we're looking at here. Internalized worthlessness is this bone-deep belief that your existence, your voice, and your efforts fundamentally lack significance. Now, it's a total distortion. It is not the truth, but it's been absorbed deep into your very sense of self. It basically operates like an invisible operating system, just running silently in the background of your mind, influencing your everyday choices without ever actually announcing its presence.
Now, this is a super important distinction that we mix up all the time. Low self-worth is doubting your abilities, right? It's thinking, oh, I'm not good enough at this specific task. But internalized worthlessness, that is doubting your fundamental right to exist. It's an existential wound. It's literally the difference between feeling like you might fail a math test and feeling like you are fundamentally taking up too much space in the universe just by breathing. Section 1. Where the wound begins. The seeds of invalidation.
The absolute most important thing to understand here is that this heavy burden is a learned response. It's not a truth you were born with. The seeds of invalidation are usually planted super early on, or they're continuously reinforced by the world around us. We're talking about things like childhood neglect, growing up in narcissistic family systems where your reality was always treated as less important than a caregiver's distorted truth, or facing systemic marginalization. You see, as humans, our primal need for attachment almost always overrides our authenticity. So as kids, or as marginalized folks, we unconsciously sacrifice our self-worth just to maintain that vital connection to others. We instinctively make a bargain. I'll believe I don't matter if it just means you'll stay connected to me.
Section 2. How it runs your life. The daily toll. So, once that invisible operating system is installed, it silently directs our choices every single day, and the effects are massive. When we truly believe we don't matter, we start accepting mistreatment as totally normal. We settle in relationships because we literally feel guilty just for having needs. We chronically overwork, endlessly hustling to prove our value, totally missing the fact that our own baseline is starting at zero. We might undercharge at work or sabotage our finances, and tragically, we entirely ignore the physical needs of our own bodies. We push through pain or pure exhaustion to meet everyone else's needs, completely convinced that we have to somehow earn our rest.
Section 3. Your misguided protector. Reframing the inner critic.
Okay, get ready for a massive paradigm shift. That harsh inner critic in your head, the one constantly demanding perfection and insisting you don't matter, isn't actually your enemy. No way. It's more like a misguided bodyguard that's working with severely outdated instructions. The core of this is a massive double standard that we call the exception rule. People struggling with this wound hold this rock-solid belief that it's perfectly fine for everyone else to be human, to make mistakes, and to have limitations, but they must do better. You easily give everyone else on the planet grace, but you demand impossible moral perfection from yourself just to justify your basic right to occupy space. Think about this for a second. What if telling yourself, "I don't matter," is actually just a giant shield? The hypervigilant part of your brain really thinks it's protecting you. By believing you don't matter, your brain naturally lowers your expectations down to zero. It's a brilliant, protective mechanism specifically designed to prevent the crushing, devastating pain of having your hopes repeatedly dashed or your needs ignored.
Of course, letting go of that shield is absolutely terrifying. You're basically choosing between two different types of suffering right now. On one hand, there's the suffering of self-betrayal, that chronic, numbing, dull ache of staying small and constantly denying your needs. And on the other hand, there's the suffering of growth, the acute, highly purposeful discomfort of breaking old patterns and finally claiming your worth. The first one leads straight to disconnection, but the second one, while definitely uncomfortable at first, leads toward wholeness and real, authentic peace.
Section 4. Gentle pathways to healing. Embodied practices.
So how do we actually choose that path of growth? Well, we start with super low-stakes, highly accessible ways to slowly unwind this deep neural wiring. Because true healing isn't just logical. You literally can't just think your way out of this, because the belief lives in your nervous system. Your body needs actual physical experiences of safety to truly rewire itself. So it starts with tiny somatic steps. Just pause and notice what you're feeling without judging yourself. Breathe deeply to send literal signals of safety down into your body. Reclaim your physical space. Sit up straight, unfold your arms, and literally allow your body to exist fully in the room.
Next, we move on to incredibly manageable, everyday actions. When someone compliments you, practice just saying thank you instead of immediately deflecting it. Try setting one small boundary without over-explaining yourself. Allow yourself to rest today without having to earn it by exhausting yourself first. Ask someone for help before you're at an absolute breaking point. Each of these tiny actions gradually retrains your brain and your body to accept that you have an inherent, undeniable right to be cared for.
Section 5. Reclaiming your inherent worth. You matter because you are.
This brings us to the most radical and, honestly, sometimes the most uncomfortable step of all. It's the act of entirely separating your human worth from your productivity, your service, or your impact. I want you to really, truly hear this and let it serve as a moment of deep, deep rest for your weary nervous system. Your value as a human being is not earned through achievement, service, or proving your right to exist. It is inherent, it is intrinsic, it is totally unconditional. You matter simply because you are.
If the concepts in this explainer resonated with you today, I want to warmly invite you to explore this further. I highly encourage you to go out and buy the book There's a Word for That by Ellen Tift. The material we covered today is literally just one single chapter of this incredible book. It's written specifically for survivors of complex trauma, and it's by a fellow survivor who is also a seasoned university educator. It is such a profoundly supportive, validating resource that will gently guide you forward on this journey. I want to leave you with one final provocative thought today. Your healing matters. The light you bring through your totally unique perspective, your deep compassion, and your absolute refusal to become numb to suffering creates ripples that extend way, way beyond what you can see. What if your existence already changes the world simply because you are here? The next time that harsh voice of worthlessness whispers that you don't matter, I invite you to just reply, I'm learning to trust my existence changes things, starting with how I treat myself today. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Keep taking those small, brave steps. You've got this.